Looking at page 19, you'll notice that the title of the page is Similar Figures. Something you have to know is that you have to know the difference between similar and congruent. Now these are defined in the start of your book, but the biggest difference is that for similar figures, they got to be the same shape. Congruent says same shape also. However, similar figures don't have to be the same size. Their corresponding angles must be congruent, meaning equal, and corresponding sides are proportional, meaning that if you cross multiply them, they'll be equal. Congruent figures must be the same shape and same size. So we have two examples that we're going to use to help determine if they're similar. Now let's take a look at the first one. We want to know if those two triangles are similar. There's a few typos that we need to correct. First, that circle should not be below the 45. The circle should go next to the 45. And we need a circle next to 90. And then in the smaller triangle, a circle next to 90 and a circle next to 45. Those are going to be your degree symbols, and they just didn't copy over in the correct spots. So please make that correction. All right, so now let's take a look at this. The first thing we're asked is, are these the same shape? Yes, they are the same shape because they're both triangles. Now, let's take a look and say, are our angles the same? Yes, corresponding angles are the same, and this is what we mean by that. We want to know that there's a 90-degree angle down here and a 90-degree angle down here. And then when we look up top, there's a 45-degree angle. And then because of the rule of triangles, we know that those two angles will be the same. Because in a triangle, there are 180 degrees total. And feel free to make that note if you did not know that. So now we're asked, are the sides proportional? So what we're going to do is we're going to compare the height to the base. So if we look at the smaller triangle, the height is 27 and the base is 18. And in the larger triangle, the height is 36 and the base is 24. So we want to know, is 18 times 36 the same as 27 times 24? Because we're going to cross multiply to figure out if they equal the same number. And when we cross multiply, we get that 18 times 36 is 648. And we get that 27 times 24, 648. So that tells us that yes, corresponding sides are proportional. Because we said yes to all three things, these two figures are similar. Now let's take a look at the second one. We go through the same process. First thing we want to know is, are they the same shape? Yes, they are the same shape. They're both rectangles. Next we want to know about, are their corresponding angles congruent? And what that's saying is, does this angle match this angle? Does this angle match this angle? And so on and so forth. And we can look at that and clearly state that yes, the corresponding angles are the same. Now the last thing for us to do is we've got to check the sides. So we are going to check, and I'm going to compare short to long. Now you'll notice that on the first one I used height and base. This one I used short and long. So we're still having to write some words before we go and fill the numbers in, because it's super easy to get these mixed up. And if you set up the proportion wrong, then when you cross multiply, it's not going to be right. The other thing to note is, in order for these two to be congruent, all of the sides would have to be the same. So the fact that this one is 9 feet, that means that this one would need to be 9 feet. This being 5 feet means that needs to be 5 feet, or vice versa. The longer sides both would need to be 18, or the smaller sides would both need to be 8 feet. So that's what I mean by congruent. All right, so if we look at the smaller rectangle, we notice that the short side is 5 feet and the long side is 9 feet. And if we look at the bigger rectangle, the short side is 8 feet and the longer side is 18 feet. So we want to know, is 5 times 18 the same thing as 8 times 9? And 5 times 18 is 90, and 8 times 9 is 72. Therefore, the sides are not proportional. That means that these are not similar.